Amazon is a powerful corporation that seems to be taking over everything these days. It's run by the richest man on earth, it doesn't pay any taxes, it's destroying small local businesses, and it's polluting the environment with all those boxes that are being sent to landfill. It's popular to hate on Amazon these days. For instance, their HQ2 was kicked out of my hometown of Queens for displacing too many working class locals in favor of high earning elites. Yet, as easy as it might be to hate on a large and powerful company, you might be surprised to learn about their stance on the environment. Let's take a look behind the curtain at some of the bold and ambitious things that Amazon is doing in order to be a part of the climate solution. They just put out their 2020 sustainability report, and here are 6 things to know about it. Number 1, the Climate Pledge. The Climate Pledge was founded in 2019 by Amazon and Global Optimism. The pledge calls on signatories to be net zero carbon across their businesses by 2040, a decade ahead of the Paris Agreement goal of 2050. This is a framework that Amazon founded. It paves the way for Amazon and other companies and organizations to voluntarily commit to dramatically reducing their environmental impact well ahead of the targets outlined by the Paris Agreement. Companies that sign the Climate Pledge agree to regular reporting. Signatories agree to measure and report greenhouse gas emissions on a regular basis. Number 2, carbon elimination. Signatories will implement decarbonization strategies in line with the Paris Agreement through real business change and innovations, including efficiency improvements, renewable energy, materials reductions, and other carbon emission elimination strategies. And lastly, credible offsets. Signatories must take actions to neutralize any remaining emissions with additional quantifiable, real permanent, and socially beneficial offsets to achieve net zero annual carbon emissions by 2040. Number 2, the Climate Pledge Fund. This one really made headlines. Microsoft, not Amazon, Bill Gates' company, had already set itself apart as a leader in sustainable business innovation by creating a $1 billion fund to invest in developing new technologies that don't even exist yet, but could prove to be promising environmental solutions. So after Microsoft announced their $1 billion fund, Amazon comes along and announces a $2 billion fund. In June 2020, Amazon announced the Climate Pledge Fund to support the development of sustainable and decarbonizing technologies and services that will enable Amazon and other companies to meet the goals set by the Climate Pledge. This dedicated investment program, with an initial $2 billion in funding, will invest in visionary companies whose products and solutions will facilitate the transition to a low-carbon economy. In order to meaningfully reduce the amount of net greenhouse gas emissions, low-carbon solutions need to be developed in all sectors of the global economy. The Climate Pledge Fund will invest in companies in multiple industries with an initial focus on transportation and logistics, energy generation, storage and utilization, manufacturing and materials, circular economy, and food and agriculture. Number 3, the Right Now Climate Fund. Amazon established the Right Now Climate Fund, a $100 million fund to restore and conserve forests, wetlands, and grasslands around the world. Through the Right Now Climate Fund, we are taking immediate action to remove or avoid carbon emissions by supporting nature-based climate solutions. And here's how they prioritize how to allocate those funds. We support nature-based solutions, which refer to conservation, restoration, and improved land management actions that increase carbon storage or avoid greenhouse gas emissions in forests, wetlands, and grasslands across the globe. Support and also solutions, demonstrate immediate action, promote global scale, optimize for carbon mitigation, and my personal favorite, improve market mechanisms. We improve market mechanisms in order to increase the worldwide quality, supply, and demand for carbon offsets. And they give some examples of projects that they're funding around the globe. The Family Forest Carbon Program will open up carbon credit markets to small family forest owners for the first time. The Forest Carbon Co-op will help owners of mid-sized forests use sustainable forest management and protection measures to earn income through the carbon credit market. Amazon's grant will support efforts to expand the program in climate-resilient forests across the Appalachians, develop a scientific approach to regional carbon impact measurement, and enhance the project verification methodology. Amazon is the largest funder of these programs. And they also discuss an urban greening project in Germany. Amazon's commitment will fund the Nature Conservancy's Urban Greening Program, which uses nature-based solutions to help cities become more climate change resilient. The program starts in one neighborhood of Berlin, but ultimately The goal is to share a guide to urban greening with municipalities across Europe. Number 4 is Amazon's sustainable operations. We're finally getting away from more abstract measures like committing to targets and allocating funding to external partners. This section is all about the concrete steps that Amazon's taking to reduce its carbon footprint. We are taking a broad, science-based approach to measuring and reducing carbon emissions in our operations. The first piece of that is measuring and reporting their current carbon emissions. Amazon's corporate carbon footprint quantifies the total greenhouse gas emissions attributed to our direct and indirect operational facilities. We measure our total impact on the climate, map the largest activities contributing to this impact, and use this information to develop meaningful carbon reduction goals, including our overall goal to reach net zero carbon across Amazon by 2040. On this next page, they disclose those measurements. This right-hand column is measured in million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, and you can see they break out their scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions, but what I really want to pay attention to at the bottom is Amazon's total footprint. All those combined is 51.17 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. So this is only the first year that they're publishing this data, but over the next few years, it'll be really interesting to see this yearly data get graphed out, and hopefully it'll resemble one downward slope as they approach their stated target of fully net zero carbon by 2040. So specifically, how can they completely wean themselves off of carbon? Well, for starters, they're moving to 100% renewable energy. We have a company-wide goal to reach 100% renewable energy by 2025, and here they discuss some of their wind and solar installations. The second way they're going to reduce their carbon emissions is with what they call Shipment Zero. Shipment Zero is Amazon's vision to make all Amazon shipments net zero carbon, with a goal of delivering 50% of shipments with net zero carbon by 2030. And Shipment Zero deals with 3 domains: fulfillment facilities, packaging materials, and transportation. A Shipment Zero order will travel through fulfillment facilities powered by 100% clean energy. A Shipment Zero order will be shipped without added Amazon packaging or in carbon neutral packaging. And a Shipment Zero order will be transported in a zero emissions delivery vehicle or by a delivery associate on foot or on bicycle. And here they go into some more detail on sustainable transportation. Transportation is a major component of Amazon's business and operations and a key part of our plan to meet net zero carbon by 2040. We are committed to optimizing and transforming our transportation network through innovations in electrification, efficiency enhancements, and alternative delivery methods. And a notable move toward electrifying their transport fleets was in 2019, Amazon ordered 100,000 electric delivery vehicles from Rivian, a US electric vehicle manufacturer. This order, the largest order ever of electric delivery vehicles, sends a signal to the marketplace to start inventing and developing new technologies that large global companies need to transition to a low carbon economy. And the third way that Amazon's going to cut its carbon emissions is with sustainable buildings. As part of our commitment to the Climate Pledge, Amazon is working to reduce the carbon emissions associated with our buildings and facilities across the globe. We are transitioning our buildings to be net zero carbon, powered by renewable energy, we spoke about that, and also highly energy efficient with demonstrated reductions in embodied carbon, which are the emissions associated with a building's construction materials. Speaking of efficiency, cloud servers are notorious for burning through lots of energy, so let's discuss AWS for a second. Our results show that AWS's infrastructure is 3.6 times more energy efficient than the median of surveyed US enterprise data centers. And the innovations that they're driving for reducing water use at their data centers really caught my attention. AWS has multiple initiatives to improve our water use efficiency and reduce the use of potable or drinking water for cooling data centers. This includes applying evaporative cooling systems and reusing recycled water instead of constantly sucking fresh drinking water. Number 5, the circular economy. We are minimizing waste, increasing recycling, and providing options for our customers to reuse, repair, and recycle their products, sending less material to the landfill and more back into the circular economy loop. Recycling. We are developing new recycling infrastructure, inventing recyclable packaging materials, and investing in initiatives that support the recycling industry across the US. Regarding recycling infrastructure, in addition to optimizing our recycling efforts for common materials like cardboard, we are working to address the materials that are toughest to recycle in our operations. They also developed recyclable mailers. In 2019, we launched a fully recyclable paper padded mailer that protects products during shipping while taking up less space in transit. This ensures customer deliveries arrive undamaged and in recyclable packaging with a lower carbon footprint. And they're also partnering with external organizations to develop recycling infrastructure. To improve curbside recycling in the US, we partnered with the Recycling Partnership, which supports communities and local governments with education, infrastructure, and measurement related to curbside recycling. We also invested $10 million in the Closed Loop Infrastructure Fund to finance recycling and circular economy infrastructure in North America. Amazon Second Chance provides information on how to trade in, recycle, or repair Amazon devices and products, how to recycle Amazon packaging, and how to find open box and refurbished devices. And at Amazon facilities around the world, we are continuously expanding initiatives to maximize the positive impact of our surplus inventory. We contribute food and non-food product donations to hundreds of food banks and nonprofits, reducing landfill waste and helping our local communities. And number 6, packaging and products. We're redesigning packaging to reduce waste and making our private label products and devices in responsible ways. Reducing packaging waste. Our customers want right-sized, recyclable packaging that minimizes waste and ensures damage-free delivery. We work to reinvent and simplify our sustainable packaging options using a science-based approach that combines lab testing, machine learning, material science, and manufacturing partnerships to scale sustainable change across the packaging supply chain. Unlike traditional retail stores, products bought online don't need the elaborate packaging used for displaying products on store shelves. Our frustration-free packaging program encourages manufacturers to package their products in an easy-to-open packaging that is 100% recyclable and ready to ship to customers without additional Amazon boxes. They're also using machine learning algorithms to arrive at the best possible packaging choices for deliveries. That allows them to redesign boxes to use less material while making sure customer orders are protected. These improvements reduce volume per shipment, which means less unnecessary packaging and more efficient use of all forms of transportation. They're also making an effort to transition to using more sustainable products and materials in all of their private branded products, and they're encouraging third-party sellers to do the same with millions of items. So to recap, the 6 things you need to know about Amazon's sustainability report are: the Climate Pledge, the framework they co-founded to commit themselves and other organizations to be net zero carbon by 2040. The Climate Pledge Fund, which is a $2 billion investment fund to invest in startups with promising decarbonization technologies. The Right Now Climate Fund, a $100 million fund to support immediate reforestation and climate mitigation strategies. Their sustainable operations, or in other words, the actual steps they're taking to reach the target they committed to in the Climate Pledge of being net zero carbon by 2040. That includes sourcing 100% of their energy from renewables by 2025, what they're calling Shipment Zero, their plan to decarbonize their shipping operations, which included purchasing 100,000 electric delivery vehicles, and their industry-leading energy efficiencies at their data centers. The circular economy, or making use of recyclable materials and laying the groundwork for greater recycling infrastructure. And lastly, packaging and products, reducing packaging waste and incorporating greater use of sustainable products and materials. I'll put a link to the report in the description so you can see it for yourself in more detail. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video and that you found it useful and learned something new. And I'd really appreciate if you could like the video, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment with some feedback. Are there other companies' reports or other subjects in sustainability that you'd like me to cover? Do you like more straightforward explainer videos that are just a simple presentation of the facts? Or are you maybe interested in some of my analysis and commentary? I'm entering this endeavor very open-minded and with the expectation that it's going to continually evolve in order to be as useful as possible. So by all means, let me know what you thought of it and what you'd like to see. This is my very first video, and I promise that in the future they'll only get more entertaining and less monotone. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.